Hello you guys, Abraxas here, and I'm going to be playing a little bit of Space Engine. So, I've done a few changes. I've actually turned up my video settings, and instead of 1440p, I'm now playing the game at 1080p. The reason for that is I was always recording at 720p, so I always wanted to record at a scalable resolution from, 1440p. So the recordings would show up in a decent quality with no like scaling artifacts or anything like that, and as you could tell, we were still at the Gumball planet. And yeah, the main difference is I'm just recording 1080p 30 FPS on a 1080p window. And since I'm actually running this at a lower resolution, I went ahead and turned up some of the video settings, such as the level of detail and loading speed. So hopefully this is a little bit better. I would turn on FXAA, but as you can see there, it may remove like some of the jagged edges, but I feel like it's just kind of annoying because it makes the stars a little bit more dim. I mean, I could turn up the overbright, but that just kind of makes the stars a little bit, I don't know, kind of annoying, because they all kind of match like the same level of brightness. So I'm going to leave FXA off, so the stars are more visible. Not an FXA, it's not really the best anti-aliasing method. I prefer things like MSAA or I don't know, TSAA, stuff like that. Way better anti-aliasing options. Anyways, let's go ahead and visit some of the viewer requested things. We'll start with Derp Sauce Gaming, who wants me to visit, let's see, something with a very long ID. So, let's just punch it in here. It's not actually letting me copy paste it. One moment. There we go. RSCVN. Have I visited this one? Okay. And he wanted me to visit the planet that had life on it. The third planet from it. So, that's pretty close to its parent star, but I guess that is like, it's just a red dwarf, so it's not all that hot. Let's go ahead and see what we got going on here. What's so interesting about this? So immediately you can see that things pop in a lot faster on my screen because I turned up the loading speed. And like that, we have a fully loaded mountain. And the level of detail is turned up, so they have a little bit more detail up at like further ranges. But one thing I can do is I could probably turn that up a little bit more since this isn't actually bogging down my game at all. So let's turn up the level of detail a little bit. Let's keep it at 0 and turn the loading speed up a little. I think backwards is higher for the loading speed, like that's a reduced amount of time. I could be wrong. Let's zoom into these mountains here. No, it appears to be the other way around, so let's turn this up all the way and just see what happens. And let's fly into these mountains. Okay, yeah, the other way around seems to be the, is it? These just aren't very detailed mountains. Can't really tell. Okay, higher definitely is better. Anyways, this is a planet with life. Let's stop dicking around with the settings now. And, let's see. So I think, yeah, that is kind of a mossy texture that I'm seeing on the ground there. And we have a bluish atmosphere comprised of carbon dioxide. Let's go ahead and bring up the planetary information. And let's go to the atmosphere. So it looks like carbon dioxide, a very small amount of oxygen. We got H2O and sulfur and argon. So what this is comprised of, and what do we got over there? That is a cool gas giant. There is our parenting star, which looks very big because it's actually just a red dwarf and it's not actually radiating nearly as much as, for example, our sun is. That gas giant, by the way, is basically tidally locked. I guess that was just worth a mention, and it looks like we have a volcano over here, but it looks like a bugged out one. No, it's actually not. It's just a very small cap on it. Interesting. Let's see. Do we have any ice sheets on this planet? Because I'm noticing the planetary temperature is actually 25 degrees Celsius, making this kind of pretty close to Earth-like. I think a little bit warmer, but this is actually a relatively cool planet. And it doesn't appear I could find any like snow caps or anything like that. It's just, wait, is that a snow cap on that volcano? No, it's just a cloud layer. So it doesn't appear there's any actual snow on this planet. It just looks like it looks very dim because of the red dwarf. It's not nearly as bright as like our sun, for example. So it doesn't really light this all up. And the atmosphere is very thick. As you can tell, like the fog is pretty close. Nonetheless, pretty interesting planet. Let's see if there's anything else we can explore around this star. We got a gas giant over here. I'm not a big fan of these gas giants. While they are realistic, like Saturn, for example, would look something like this. I always love when they have like the, well, I mean, it's obvious from my previous videos. I love the more detailed, like, cool-looking cloud layers. This one has a kind of nice, like, pink and, what color would I call this? Kind of a cream color to it. And it has a nice chocolatey ring. And I think, no, never mind. I thought there was going to be a moon orbiting between the rings. But we have a moon over here, which is a frozen asteroid, consisting of the same color as the rings, which would make sense. Let's go ahead and visit this much larger gas giant over here. Was that larger? Oh, whoops. Yeah, it's considerably larger. And this one kind of looks a lot like Jupiter, just a lot more chocolatey, I guess. Or as somebody commented, and sorry if I forgot your name, coffee-like. It has the detailed cloud layer. This is what I'm talking about when I say detailed cloud layer. Since I'm recording in 1080p, you should be able to see these details a lot better too from a distance. As I fly through, it actually like 3D models them, which I think gives it its kind of like detailed layer. Yeah, it's these planets that I really like, gas giant wise. Ones that have like big storms and stuff like that. They're just overall a lot more interesting to me. Does it have any notable moons? Doesn't appear so. That was a pretty cool little system. I think we have an ice world over here with those disco craters. We certainly do. And it has a very faint ring. I don't know if you guys can actually see that, but there we go. You might be able to see it there around the sides here. So it has a very faint little ring system. Anyways, let's go check out what somebody else wants me to visit. Okay, so we have one from Granteford again. He wants me to visit NGC 4676. Okay. Did I mess something up? Oh, okay, there's a 1 and 2. So that means it's probably a galactic collision. Oh, wait. That's interesting. That is very cool looking. It looks like a albino tiger of some kind or something like that. And this is actually a very dense galaxy. Probably because I'm already close to the center. That's probably why there's so many stars. That would actually make sense. Because if you would have seen one of my latest magnitude video on what was it, Centaurus A, I believe. I mentioned that brighter areas in galaxies seem to generate more stars than the outer regions. No, I mean, this was expected. I mean, there's more stars, so it's going to be brighter. But, I mean, that's kind of how, like, the game generates. I found a black hole orbiting around a star. Check that out. No accretion disk. This is actually the first time I've actually seen this in person. I've seen this in videos. But that is awesome. If you want to visit this, the ID is up here in the top left corner. Wow, that is actually awesome looking. Yeah, I was mentioning how I liked the neutron stars because they have this effect and don't have accretion disks, but I don't know. It's kind of a competition between the black hole now because that is really cool looking. Look at that. You can see the full lensing effect without the accretion disk in the way. So it's really cool looking. It's like I could just tear apart anything in the background with this. Destroy all the light that I'm receiving. Kind of funny to put it in the center of the star because you still get like the reflection of the stars around the black hole and around the star. Kind of around it, so it looks like you're just tearing a huge hole through the star. Very cool. Yeah, very awesome. And it's actually saying that... No, never mind. No? Wait, what? It's saying there's planets around one of these. I said there was planets. It doesn't want to say it anymore. Nonetheless, really cool find. Did not expect to just find that by clicking. I'm already liking this galaxy. Let's see. I don't know which one of these would be its main star cluster. Maybe this one. Yeah, that. I'm pretty good at guessing that. I always seem to find the center one pretty quick, and right here is going to be the supermassive black hole, which will be this blue lit up dot. Past it, and if I slow down, whoop, a little bit too fast, and if I wait, it should pop in. There it goes. Which is no longer a blue dot, it is now this center dot here, and this is going to be one with accretion disk, very likely. Yep. I think all central black holes will have accretion disks, so very cool. And if I can double click it, hit F2, I can see what type of stars are orbiting around it. Immediately, we got a white dwarf, which will also have an accretion disk. And we got another white dwarf over here, so let's check it out. Yep, very cool. If you've seen in my last video, I found a white dwarf with a very white accretion disk. And something in my video settings is making this area lag, so I'm going to pull away from all this. Just because I had that selected? Oh, it actually is. It was lagging trying to generate previews for that, I guess. Let's check out its neighboring galaxy that it's actually colliding with. Actually, let's check out something in between, like this little, or actually huge, blue luminous supergiant. We have a hot desert, but it's very dark. Very, well, no, it's really not. Just a very dim desert. Just has a really stretched texture on it, too. Where is its parenting star? Should be in the sky. There it is. Doesn't have a thick atmosphere from what I could tell. Yeah, the atmospheric pressure is actually rather low on this planet, so it's not generating too much. But let's go over to the night sky and just see what we can actually see. We are almost there. Wait. No. There's the night sky. We could see one of the galaxies. Actually, let's fly a little bit away from this planet. The atmosphere is kind of making it yellowish green. See one of the galaxies there. We got a bunch of hills here. And I think that is the other galaxy. So if I come around over to this dark side, and your night view will consist of that moon and two galaxies. Of course, the atmosphere, it really shifts the color of the galaxies. So if we fly out, we can see what it would look like to be on this planet. You can see both galaxies just kind of sitting next to each other. Oh wow, actually that galaxy is blocked out by the sun, so we're just seeing the edge of that galaxy. So if we sit here, then we can kind of see a little bit more of like both galaxies. Very cool. That'd be very interesting to live in the center of a galactic collision. Okay, so let's check out this galaxy, its neighbor, that it's getting a little bit intimate with. We got something very bright right here, which is a yellow supergiant. This kind of warpy, bubbly effect. And let's see what planets are orbiting around it. We have something that's quite hot here, 927 degrees Celsius. And it is orbiting very close to it. Is it tidally locked? It does not appear to be. So if I go ahead and land on this, this brightness should probably fade away. No, it's actually staying pretty bright. Probably because the star is right there. And that is a supergiant right there. It's nothing like less. This planet does not appear to have really much of an atmosphere. So it does not really have too much of a greenhouse effect, I would imagine. So this is just purely heat that it's getting right from the star. This, for example, is a planet with a denser atmosphere. And the reason why it's hotter is because it has a greater greenhouse effect. In fact, you can't even see the star because it's like pretty much diffused in its thick atmosphere. And that is also the reason why Venus, for example, is hotter than Mercury. Of course, I expect you guys to know that. One thing about these planets that are orbiting close and are very hot next to the star, is they always have this blue outer glow, and they're always kind of a pink color. I'm noticing like that pattern. Over here, we have something a little bit more red. Yep, we got another red planet. So if we actually fly into this, it has a thicker atmosphere than the Selena that we were at. And the star, you could actually see the entire thing in the night sky. And there's a moon. This atmosphere isn't too thick. It is, let's see. Yeah, it is 0.05 atmosphere, so it's not actually a very dense atmosphere, but you could actually see it. And it's glowing a nice red, but the planet itself is actually orange, as you can tell. Kind of a very vibrant orange, too. Okay, let's move on. What other suggestions do we have? From the same person, Grant Deferred, he wants me to visit something called M82. Which is another galaxy. Okay, so it's a cloud, a regular galaxy. And flying in here, we're kind of stuck in a black cloud. Let's visit something within this black cloud here. We have this. Let's go to this binary system. Binary system comprises of a blue main sequence star and a red supergiant. Let's go to the red supergiant, which you may have noticed that blue main sequence star is much brighter. Well, if you check the temperature, it's also much hotter. And we appear to not really have any terra worlds or anything like that. We do have a scorched desert. Heated up by that blue supergiant. And you may have noticed that it has red clouds in the back, which means that it's basically molten. And we have a pretty thick atmosphere. Actually, a lot more pressure than Earth. And as you could tell, you have two stars in the sky. One is just insanely bright, and the other one you could actually kind of see with the naked eye. Of course, that doesn't mean I could probably see that with the naked eye, but you can actually like see the roundness of it rather than just seeing like the blinding bloom effect of it. In fact, if we go over to the dark side of the planet, you can actually see two sunsets, which is always cool. Nonetheless, definitely a pretty view. We got these very detailed red clouds here. I can fly slow enough to actually see them. Very awesome. Let's see what else we got around here. We got this gas giant over here, which if we check out its moon system, it has a couple of deserts and a Selena. Which, we got a nice kind of pale purple with this planet. I'm actually kind of a big fan of how that looks, because, yeah, it's not like overly vibrant, not too colorful, and as you can tell, it's actually a very hot supergiant. Probably because that star is, I don't think it is too far away. And let's check out one of its moons. This one is 308 degrees, so it is definitely very hot. And it does have actually some atmosphere. So there you go, you can see the two stars. In fact, I don't think that star right there is actually round. I think it's actually kind of oval shaped, probably because it's being yeah, I think the gravity of this star is actually tugging on it, making it kind of a oval shaped. Kind of looks like a jelly bean or something. We got our, well, not our moon, but our, I guess, parenting planet. Because this is actually the moon. Nonetheless, very awesome. Let me check here. Okay, we have another one from Derp Sauce Gaming who wants me to go to MK2. Oh wait, I already visited that. Never mind. Okay, well, I think that's all the requests that I have for today. What am I running? It looks like 22 minutes, so I think I'm actually gonna end the video here. Some pretty interesting finds. Which, what do we got? Oh yeah, that's the light from the, gas giant. So, even when you're on this side of the planet, as long as that gas giant is in the sky, it's gonna really light things up. A lot more than our moon would, I'd imagine. Like I was saying. This video has been going long enough. We're at 22 minutes, so if you guys like the video, leave it a like, and if you want to see more videos like this, please subscribe, and I will see you guys in the next one.